Hello guys, this is Doronsmovies and welcome to the 34th episode of the lore Q&A. So today I'll be answering some of the questions you guys left in the previous video, and if you would like to get your questions answered, make sure to either put them on the comment section of the newest lore Q&A videos. You can also put them on the older ones, but the newer ones are the ones I usually check. You can also send them by YouTube comment section, Facebook and Twitter, and you have links in the description for everything below. And also, before we start, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to a smaller WoW YouTube channel, and I'm talking about the Lazy Peon, which is a newer channel, and he makes these really well made machinimas, also discussions and a few other stuff. Right now he's around 1,000 subscribers, so he's doing pretty decently, but I mean, he definitely deserves a lot more. I watched most of his videos and I really like them so far, and I thought you guys would like that too. So I'll put the link in the description below to his channel, so if you want to see some machinimas, some discussions, and just generally WoW videos, which are really well made, I would definitely suggest that you check that out in the description below. Alright, without further ado, let's just start. First question is by Epic Ninja Nerd 7, and he asks, is there an old god under the Eastern Kingdoms? I mean, Khatun is under Kalimdor and Yogg-Saron is under Northrend. Medaria had an old god there too. So, is there a possibility to be an old god under, say, Undercity? And if there is, could there possibly be one under Draenor as well? Alright, so I know I already answered this question before a lot of times, but I thought I'd just kinda finalize it, I guess, because it changed a bit with BlizzCon and everything, so I thought I'd just give my final answer on this one. And I just want to say that it has been speculated a lot about that old god on the Tirisfal. A lot of people come up with these plots and what could happen, but if you know a bit about the lore, what happened pretty much is like 7,000 years ago or something like that, I'm not really certain. The Blood Elves came from the Night Elves, and they came to Eastern Kingdom, and then they kinda sort of settled in Tirisfal, and they kinda had to move because something was just driving them mad there. They later on moved to Keltalas, there was the Troll Wars and everything, but pretty much there was something under Tirisfal that was driving them mad, and no one really knows what it is. Now, if you've seen before, there was like this weird ritual. It's actually in the game. There is like, if you stand on this, it's like a little island all the way to the west of the Eastern Kingdom, of the Tirisfal Glades. There is like this little ritual with these, like, I don't know what they are, like little dragons. And it's like those guys from the Night Elves. It's pretty much something happens. It's like they're singing or something. No one really knows what it is. But not that long ago, Blizzard actually confirmed that it's not an old god, but something else. And in my opinion, I honestly think it's just kind of an opportunity for them to make up something completely new or come up with something from the lore that we haven't really either seen in a long time or we're still yet to see. And I feel like it's just an opportunity for that, and I don't think even they know what it is actually. It's just like they can come up with everything and kind of have a backstory behind that. So right now no one really knows what it is, but hopefully if something is going on in Tirisfal Glades, they could definitely come up with a story like that, and I'm really interested as well to see what it is, because it kind of has a lot of, you know, these connections in the previous lore. Alright, and the next question is by Herskalote Slim. I'm not sure if that's the name, just what I read. So, what's the current relationship between Sylvanas and Vereesa Windrunner? So, if you want to learn more about this, I made a video, you can check that out, it's called War Crimes Summary. It's on my channel, and I sort of explained in detail what happened in War Crimes. But if you want to get into like full detail to see all the details what actually happened, I would suggest reading War Crimes or getting the audiobook if you want. So, pretty much, I'm just gonna give you a quick summary here, but what happened is they met on Garrosh's trial, which is pretty much the entire setting of the War Crimes novel. They sort of had these little messages, and then after that they met, they had these few longer conversations, talked about the past and the future and all of that, what they lost and everything, and both of them wanted to actually kill Garrosh. Well, Vereesa because Garrosh killed her husband Ronin. If you know, like in the Battle of Terramore when he dropped the mana bomb. And they actually like married. Well, they kinda met in the Day of the Dragon. After that they got married. And then Ronin was killed, so they also had children, so I guess that's one of the reasons. And Forsaken, I don't know what they really did to Sylvanas. I don't think he did something all that personal to her, but he didn't really like the Forsaken. He kind of excluded him from the Horde as well, so I guess she had a motive to do it as well. they kind of plotted to do it, and then after that they kind of spoke, and Sylvanas had this plan to invite Vereesa to join the Forsaken, so they could rule together in like this alliance, and they would be like two leaders, and she kind of actually thought about doing it. But the thing is, Sylvanas kind of had something different in mind, because she knew that the Forsaken would never accept a living leader, and she had to kill her in her sleep, and she couldn't tell her that because she didn't really want to die, but she wanted to rule the Forsaken. And it was kind of a bad plan, honestly, but kind of evil from Sylvanas' side, to be honest. But what happened is, Vereesa then thought of her children in Dalaran, and she swore to never leave them again, because if she left for the Forsaken, she would never see them again. Plus, they lost their father as well. So she kind of told Sylvanas that she couldn't do it, but she didn't really hate Sylvanas because of that. She thinks she's still in like good relationships with her, but what Sylvanas did was kind of say like she never wants to trust anyone again, because she kind of opened herself up, told her she was lonely and everything, that she hasn't spoke to anyone like that in ages, and she was kind of pissed after that. So I'm not really sure where their relationship stands right now, but from what I see, Vereesa doesn't really... She kind of likes Sylvanas, while Sylvanas could be a bit pissed at her at the moment. Alright, and the next question is by Karto KRS, I guess, and he asks, do you think when Garrosh gets to Draenor, Grom will be pissed at him when he finds out what Garrosh has done, or do you think Grommash will welcome Garrosh without just stealing his plans and making him go away? So he definitely won't be pissed at Garrosh, because he's kind of the evil of Draenor right now, and Garrosh is evil as well, so they're kind of working together if you haven't seen from Warlords of Draenor. But I still really don't know where their relationship kind of stands right now. But from what I've seen, it looks like Grom is taking the lead while Garrosh is just being like his assistant. And they also changed Grommash as well, which I really don't like. I mean, it's not just design-wise, but they also made him super evil. I mean, he was evil, but that was mostly under the demon stuff, but I guess he was evil before, but not as much as here. And also, they kind of changed his design in a major way. I mean, I really don't like it. They made him into this like giant Hulk guy. He's actually like 2 times the size of Garrosh, which doesn't make sense before, because they already had a set design for him. I mean, he was supposed to be like this tall and lean guy as well. He wasn't supposed to be like super buff. I mean, you could see some screenshots from before. He was like this big guy, but that was mostly because he was under the demon influence. But before, like, he was actually super lean. And if you've seen him in Warlords of Draenor, he's like walking with Garrosh, and he looks like 2 times the size of Garrosh. And Garrosh is supposed to be different from his father. He's supposed to be this like bald, big guy that is like super wide and tall. That's supposed to be bigger than Grommash, but not as fast or as skillful, even though he's pretty skillful, I guess, with swords and everything, axes. But I don't really like these changes, and I don't know what we can expect from these, because it's not really that big of a deal. But I mean, Blizzard is just changing stuff that they already had previously designed, so I really don't know right now. I mean, they could change a lot of stuff that we thought were different before, so a lot of things can change. But so from what I've seen, I think Garrosh is the one being the follower, while Grommash is being the main guy here. Alright, next question is by Dylan, and he asks, are the Alliance going to get any of their land back from Horde like Gilneas or Stromgarde? Would be good to have them again. Alright, so I believe I already answered this before as well, but I'm not really certain on it, and the only way I can see it is to get that land back is if there is something very related to it. I mean, they said on BlizzCon, I believe it was Dave Kosak, and he said that he loved Gilneas, and pretty much everyone at Blizzard, he loved Gilneas. They loved the architecture, the style, the story as well, and they wanted to return it someday, but they really didn't see a way to return it. Maybe in like a patch, but they just didn't have the time and really didn't think of a good enough story to do that. So I believe they said on BlizzCon 2013 that the spotlight will be on Sylvanas, and maybe Alliance could make an advancement into the Forsaken territory. They could make a siege on Gilneas and retake it. Maybe the Worgen can settle there again. I really don't know, but if something like that happens where the spotlight is on the Forsaken and that part of the continent or just Azeroth, I guess that would be like a perfect way to get Gilneas back and kind of reintroduce that zone instead of just being the starting zone and just being abandoned after that. Alright, next question is by Austin, and he asks, do you think Ner'Zhul is acting similar to how Arthas was during Warcraft 3? I mean, that Ner'Zhul is making choices that he wouldn't originally want to do in Warlords of Draenor. just how Arthas during the Warcraft 3 events. Although Ner'Zhul kinda had no choice. Do you think Blizzard did this ironic twist on purpose? Okay, so from what I've seen so far in Warlords of Draenor, he started doing all this evil stuff because he kind of has to. There was like this scene where Grom came to him and he kind of threatened him. And he either has to like cooperate or he would be completely wiped out with his clan. And I don't think he's really like Arthas though. I mean, from what I've seen, mostly Ner'Zhul is kind of working with a gun pointed to his head, if you could say that, because he's kind of like being threatened. Although I do feel like he does a lot of evil stuff willingly after that, he kind of gets consumed by it, maybe. But I see Arthas is kind of different from that, because some of the decisions Arthas has made in Warcraft 3 in those events were kind of harsh and kind of made some sense, honestly. For example, the Siege of Stratholme, I mean, it was pretty harsh to kill the citizens of the Alliance, but they would still turn into the undead. So even if he didn't do it himself, they would still have to kill him in a worse way. But still, it's not really humane from that perspective. But all the stuff he did after that, for example, killing those mercenaries, killing all of his men and turning them into Scourge, although that was under the influence of Frostmourne. But still, I mean, before he was under the influence of Frostmourne, he was really under no influence but himself. I mean, he was neither under the influence of the Lich King or under the Frostmourne, pretty much anything. He may have been tricked by Mal'Ganis, but he was the one who chose to follow him. It's not like Mal'Ganis controlled him to follow him. He was the one who made the decision to go to Northern and take his forces, even though his father said that he shouldn't do that. So, I don't really think they're kind of similar in that regard, but they could be similar in that part when it comes to corruption. And how, for example, maybe the motives, like pretty much the starting part of how they turned into corruption is different, but the part that they joined the corruption, I guess, is the same. Alright, and the last question is by Van Volk, and he asks, I was just playing WoW and leveling my ult when I thought about this, and I think that the end boss in Warlords of Draenor is Wrathion, because in the lore panel they said that it won't be just an ordinary orc, there is actually a guy behind the guy. You all think that Garrosh or Kairos was the main guy in the plan of freeing Garrosh, but Wrathion planned it, and what do you think about it? So, it was definitely proven that Wrathion is the main guy behind this. I already explained it in the War Crimes novel, and I already said it a lot of times before, but pretty much Kairos worked under Wrathion, and I think that Wrathion did it for a bigger purpose. He said that he is doing it for a bigger purpose, that something will happen in the future and it will be easier for us, I guess, but it hasn't really been said in a clear way, more of like a metaphor thing. But right now, there just isn't enough material for me to speculate who will be the main boss. I mean, right now, the main guy with the Iron Horde and all of the evil is Grommash Hellscream, but I don't think he will be like the main boss of the expansion. And also from what I've seen, there is actually a lot more Burning Legion influence than I originally thought. And I really don't want to spoil the stuff in Warlords of Draenor, but I'm just gonna give you something that happened. Pretty much there is like this Draenei that betrays the others. He kills one of the guys, he betrays the others, and he turns into this demon thing. And as I said, I don't want to spoil everything, as you can see what happens in Warlords of Draenor, but there is actually Burning Legion influence there, and could be someone from the Burning Legion. But right now, as I said, I can't really say. It's kind of hard to speculate. But it could be Kairos, but still that wouldn't make sense, as he isn't really the main guy. I mean, he just made a portal. He's kind of one of those guys that just did a service, but isn't really the one with all that much influence. While Wrathion, I don't really see him as being the main boss, so right now it could be either a new character they introduce in the expansion once it comes out, or could be someone like from that Infinite Dragon fight that is really important, or maybe even someone that they can bring back from the lore that we haven't seen in ages before. But right now it's not like I can even give a speculation. It's more of those situations where you just can't even give a simple speculation of what will happen. Alright then, that is all I have for now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe. And also there will be a stream tomorrow, as I said, on 2 PM GMT, and it will be lasting for around 6 hours, so you can check that out on my Twitch channel. It's in the description below if you want to check that out. It's going to be pretty much around 24 hours from the upload of this video. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe. See you next time.